Live deal is rocked and rolling. And it's going to be fun. Today is going to be super awesome. We are looking at how it is that you can augment your creativity with the tools that are out there. There's never been a better time in the history of our world for an entrepreneur, for a solopreneur, for someone who is creative to be creative. So we're going to look at that. But the one thing I've got to tell you is there's never been a greater time for us to get trapped by bright, shiny objects, trapped by past versions of ourselves, trapped by something that is not visionary enough. And really what we're going to be looking at is the truth of what I believe is that most of us are limited not by what it is that we can do. We're limited now by our vision. And I've got to tell you, if you're an entrepreneur, it's even worse for you than the rest of us. And I put myself in that same boat because the entrepreneur's disease, probably the reason that I've even been able to exist for the last 8 years as a coach, the entrepreneur's disease is that instead of creating processes, they get really good at doing a lot of things and therefore become the process. And so if you look past what I guess what that means is we are creating vision only to the boundaries of what we think we individually have the power to do. In other words, we view work as something that is ours to do. We're going to be talking about how to use AI to get past that. And I believe if you don't use AI as an ally and others as allies, you will fall because we've got to come up with some other version of the entrepreneur, maybe the techpreneur. I don't know. There's got to be a mixture of other elements in what you're doing. And if you don't have it, you're dead. Now, this isn't the message of if you're the person that sees all of these different AI tools out there and you're thinking you've got to learn them all or you're going to fall behind. This isn't that message. There's just a lot. As a matter of fact, if you've ever felt that, by the end of this, we are going to get to the 4 questions you can ask to make sure that you are never, ever falling into the traps that that are created by those who are creating this scarcity thing. So it's interesting because, wow. Well, I was going to do a little bit of a live demo here, but we're not going to do that. At least not yet. Maybe if you stick around to the end and you ask some good questions, we will. I want you to think about, I want you to think about the last thing that you accomplished. And I want you to think about where that came from. It probably came from a vision you had and something you executed. Actually, something that's pretty cool. I recently heard Simon Sinek in an interview with Stephen Bartlett in the Diary of a CEO podcast. One of the things he says, it's about 11 minutes in, you should go check out the clip. But one of the things that he says is that growth power belongs to the small business, not the large business. It's not about resources. It's not about right circumstances and right situations. It's more about the small business's ability to have vision beyond its means. Vision beyond its means. That's what allows for companies to put heart into what they're doing. That's what allows for people to bind together and to have a sense of belief. And really, it's the secret sauce for creativity. I believe that if we're even looking at small business, the size of a small business or someone that can go out there and have a humongous impact has shrunken dramatically. And the reason is AI has just created at least a part of your workforce. And the goal is that we need to be able to see how we can orchestrate that to connect with what it is that we want. And we can't get caught up into the flow of what everyone else is doing and just pressing buttons and doing things because we're doing things. We actually need to slow down and ask ourselves, what is it that I want? So think about what you can get on your own. And imagine if you had 10 people working towards that vision for you and with you. Could you get different results? Of course you could. It might be, I guess I'm thinking about the entrepreneur who builds so small because only they can do it. It's almost like trying to run a marathon in a closet. Right? You've got all of this this distance you want to cover, but we're doing it in these restricted ways. And right now I feel like that the restrictions are off. And the only thing that people are lacking these days is not ability, it's imagination. So, where do we start? How do we get to that place where Simon Sinek was saying, having boldness of vision that's beyond the means that we have to accomplish it? How do we do that? Well, I'm going to say, first off, think about what is it you want. Thinking about what is it you want, and then thinking about what is possible. That's called vision. I love these things. I love creating vision boards. We're about to go away to Costa Rica for 8 or 9 days here, and I'm leaving almost all of my technology behind. The only thing I'll probably be bringing with me is this little wearable because it records my bright ideas. But the question I'm going to be asking myself is, what do I want? And what do I see? What's possible? What's possible? What's possible? We do have to get to a place where we're turning it into what's probable, but we're going to get into, I think, how to track into that with the 4 questions. But I do believe that everything right now is shifted from the value being given by the person with the knowledge. And now the most valuable person in the room is the person asking the questions. And questions spark the quest. Questions, that's what vision is made of. And if you find someone who isn't able to have vision, what you're finding is someone who stopped asking questions. So what are the questions that you should be asking? Well, you ask the questions of, who do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I want to have? Those, we start there. And by the way, I'll drop something in for those of you who want to grow your vision. Probably even need to create a new AI challenge with that. But we've got to have an imagination. Now we go from what we think is possible or what we would love to what's possible. And then from what's possible to what's probable. But here's the one thing I would say. I love tuning into the ideas put together by the 10X is Easier Than 2X and the Who Not How books by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And the whole idea is that you want to create work that has components that are not designed for you. So using creativity to create, not creativity to always figure out the solutions. You got to create first. And sometimes the best way to figure out solutions is you say, this is what I want. I'm going to invite other people in to help me to create the solutions. We're building a playground, right? We're building what it is that we want to play in. One thing I've recently done, and this has been amazing. I have this little side effort. I keep referring to this, but I just love actually looking at vision and feeling vision. If you can't look at it and feel it, you're not going to do it. And so find some way to look at it, feel it, and not just have some general sense of, I want more of this or less of this, but something that you actually can pursue. And so this is something I'm pursuing. So this is my son, Cole. He just, this last 4 weeks, just came on working with me full time. And we're in our first, going after my first mile marker of growing a YouTube channel to 2,000 subscribers. And it's funny, in doing that, we've actually created a second YouTube channel in order to do some experimentation on. It's a story channel only. But what's happening is the more we're working together, the more I feel like is possible. Or let me say it another way, the more I feel like is probable. And the reason it's probable is no longer am I reliant upon my ability to find good stories or my ability to edit great things or my ability to post to the right places in the right ways. No longer am I reliant upon my ability, but I have this whole other genius that's now focusing his attention towards the same problem. So one way that we can actually start to have a bigger vision is to start to rely on other people to get us there. That's why I think coaching is important, right? That's why I think having a team is important. That's why I think having good leadership is important. Even the word company, compania, looks a lot like what I'm doing with Cole, our little 2 or 3 man operation right now. It's just people who, compania, they're together and they're breaking the bread as they do business, as they trade, as they enjoy life together. Our first hour today of business from 7:30 to 8:30 today was swimming and catching waves in the ocean and talking about business. So that's one way to start to multiply vision. But let's talk about one of the biggest upgrades that I think we've ever had, and this is having this other intelligent entity that leverages all of the things that have ever been said on the internet, and it puts it all in one little place and can have a conversation with you and me. AI. Now, my go-to is Chat GPT, but I'm also finding great pleasure in working with the Google's assistant. I use AI.Google, or it's Google Gemini. There's several different ones. The main thing is that we're using something to get thoughts and ideas out. So what are thoughts and ideas for most of us, the vast majority of us? Those are words. And here's what happens. We take those words and we put them in a place. And most of us put them in a place, we write a notebook and it just stays there for, like, this is what's happened over history. We put them in a place and we forget about them. Now, these words are moments of inspiration. These words, it's us connecting our thoughts and ideas with feelings. How sad it is for those things to be written and put away in a place and never actually create what they were made for. But if we use those in conversing, going with someone from one place to another, conversing, that's what AI opens the opportunity to do. You can now take these ideas, drop them into AI, and it will talk back to you. Now, most of us say, take this idea and make it something. And we turn AI into a slave. And I think that's actually the worst way that we can do it. The best way we can do it is to allow it to act almost like another person. It's not another person, but we allow it to reflect our ideas back to us in a different way. Sometimes that's the power of conversation, is it gives a new emanation. It gives a new, you see me do this all the time, where I take the gemstone and turn it. It gives another twist to the beautiful thing you have called thought, called idea. This is the creative power you have. So allowing AI to spit that back to you matters, all right? But that's not where we get vision. And the truth is there's so many different ways. It's funny because just before this, I was going to do a slideshow, but I forgot the AI subscription that I have for the slideshow maker, where I just drop in my instructions into the slideshow. And it's funny, I just thought a moment ago, I'm like, oh, I need to ask Chat to remind me what is my slide maker. I'll remember just before I'm done with this. I think it starts with a G, but I can't remember. Anyway, to avoid falling into the pressure of what, like this new AI pressure where you've got to learn everything, you've got to do everything. And by the way, if you're someone who's in real estate, mortgage, sales, and you felt the LinkedIn pressure or the posting pressure or having like what do you put on Instagram, what do you put on Facebook, all of that type of stuff, like this content pressure, this is the same thing as that. If you don't do this, you're going to fall behind and you'll die. I'm going to show you how to not fall behind and die. And I've given a lot of serious thought to this. I'm a former school teacher, as you know, The one thing I think about AI that's the most beautiful right now is it, especially for the visionary, is it doesn't lie. It helps you to think. And so if you ask it the right questions, it'll tell you the answers that you'd like to get to. So first off, I want you to ask what it is that you want. What do you want? We talked about that in the beginning. This is your vision. I want to get out of debt. I want to make $1 million. I want to rescue my family. I want to go on this vacation. I want to, whatever it is that you want. Think about the things you want. Pull it from your vision board, okay? And now I want you to think about the next question. So question one, what is it you want? Question number two, who is it that you want to help? So what do I want? Who do I want to help? Question three, what do they want? Question four, who do I want to be in the process? What do I want? Who do I want to help? What do they want? And who do I want to be? How do I want to act? How do I want to behave in the process? Okay. I'll give you an example of my own in just a minute, but I want you to take those questions because if you know those, you can take them and now you are ready to approach AI, and it will help you learn anything. Because the next, if you know, for example, I'll run some of mine through this. Okay. A few months ago, I had someone met me through a business group. He was asking my advice on what to do with some web design stuff. I'm not a web designer, but he said what he wanted. I want to rank on the first page of Google. I want to help property managers to clean their dryer vents. And what they need is and want is they want someone who can show up and do it effectively and cheaply. And what I want to be is I want to be a knowledgeable, trustworthy person. That's what they said they wanted to be. So I took all of that and I went to Chat GPT and I just said, hey, if someone wanted to do this is me trying to help this guy out. If someone wanted to do this, how would you do it? Here's the tools that I have. I told it I have a membership to Go High Level. I have, these 4 things. This guy has a video camera, whatever. We went through all of the things and it gave me instructions on how to do this. Said, well, buy these 10 domains. They're all available. Point them all to this one. Have him write these 4 blogs and do these 3 videos. Post it. And in 3 months, you should be at the top page of Google. Month 1, wasn't worried. Month 2, I started getting worried because he actually did give me money for this experiment. Month 3, guess what happened? Top page of Google. I'd never done this before. And what I'm telling you is you're now able to do things you haven't been able to do before. So entrepreneurs, you are no longer trapped in your own abilities. You have a marketer, you have a copywriter, you have a researcher, you have all of these things that are now at your beck and call. You just have to know how to activate this army. So the questions again, what do I want? Who do I want to help? What do they want? Who do I want to be in the process? And I'm going to give you the final one. Okay, so now once we know those things, we ask, just go to ChatGPT, have a paid membership, go to ChatGPT, and then we ask, what are the best AI tools to do this? And what questions should I be asking to make this happen within the next 3 to 6 months? If you ask it what tools to use, it will tell you what tools to use. Because the truth is there's so many different AI tools and so many different wrappers out there, you're going to go crazy trying to keep up with them all. Okay, you need to be playing with different ones, but for your intent and purposes, you have the ability to accelerate towards anything that you have out there if you know what you want. And once you know what you want, you lock in on the things that are going to get you there. So you turn what you desire into something that's possible. We turn something that's possible into something that's probable, and we do that through a process. By the way, these are all things that I do as a coach. I get paid money to do this, and now AI is I don't want to say it's working us out of a job. It's making things to where the barriers are gone. It's removing the time from conception to creation. It is new paint that you should be painting with. But if you don't know how to look, you're going to lose focus and you're going to chase a bright, shiny object. By the way, another entrepreneur disease. Okay. Entrepreneurs chase bright, shiny objects because something starts getting tough. And then we start to look for another way around it. That's just what we do. I would say this, and I'm going to give you a real live example of something that's happening real time with me this last few weeks. And I just want you to have vision. I just want you to challenge yourself to find that vision, to create the plan, to stick to the plan, but to leverage AI instead of chasing AI. Make it your partner, not even your servant, but a partner that draws out from you the power of your words in conversation, reflects them back to you, and gives you a solid plan. So I'm going to tell you the 4 things that I entered into just recently. So we said in our, let's see, here's the AI that was supposed to, those are the questions. What do I want? Who do I want to help? What do they want? Who do I want to be in the process? I decided that I really want to be, I want to learn how to get attention a whole lot better, because I have come up with great ideas for my whole career, but I've not really done a good, I can sell, but I've not done a good job at promoting. Okay. So I decided I wanted to master YouTube. And you guys know, and if you don't follow, by the way, come follow me, come hang out with me on YouTube. But I went ahead and got, there is, let's see, my old, I had a different channel. It's a School of Professional Design channel. You guys are all familiar with it, follow it. This is live on School of Professional Design. But I also have this story channel. And this story channel, I just decided I wanted to, in the process of what I'm doing, collect stories, because it makes me better at teaching. It makes me better at, all of the things I'm doing. And I just love them anyway. And so I wanted to start to master this type of content. And what I've realized just through reading, I've read a couple of books, I'm following a couple of, getting coached, getting followed by a couple of, or following a couple of masters. And I'm realizing, okay, so here's what I want. I want to create a successful story, like a successful YouTube channel. I really want this for a School of Professional Design, but for right now, I started fresh. And I said, who do I want to help? I want to help floundering entrepreneurs, or entrepreneurs who want encouragement. And what do they need? They need encouragement. They need entertainment. They come here for entertainment. Who do I want to be in the process? I want to be, I'm still discovering this, but I just want to be a storyteller. I want to be a sharer. I want to be an encourager. So here I come over here. And in 13 videos, these are long form videos. These are short form videos. Short form videos are the ones that YouTube loves the most. They'll spit them out and get them in front of people, and those people will subscribe to you once the algorithm knows who you are. And these are the long form videos, just like 2 or 3 minute long stories. Here's what we did. I've dropped all my stories in. I said, AI, which of my stories would most likely go viral? And it says, well, these ones. I'm like, great. Out of these stories, help me to create the actual story flow that the algorithm wants. So it helps me to create the right story flow. Okay, great. Now help me with the first 3 seconds. How should those first 3 seconds look? Because that matters everywhere in all of the algorithm. It tells me and gives me what's called hooks. I'm learning. I'm not even average yet. I'm below average in my hook creation. And then I'm like, great. How can I create amazing thumbnails for this? And so I even created some for this very session that we're on right now in something called Sora. And so Sora has been a great, tremendous help, but it tells me what to do, and it gives me it tells me what to put in for Sora. So this is, if you join this, you may have seen this: increase your vision or fall to AI. It was just an idea I had. And this is my images connected with an idea. And a lot of these ideas I got from conversing with a creator that's smarter at things than me, because it's seen billions of videos and it knows what succeeds. Here's what I'm doing. I'm changing the learning curve. This is, I guess, like my final little point, and then we're going to open up to questions. There was a study done by a guy named Mark Rober. He's an amazing, fun YouTuber. He does like all of this science stuff. And he discovered, and he did a TED Talk on something called the Super Mario effect, where he put out a study that he basically created something, and 50,000 of his YouTube followers signed up for this. So he had a lot of people to study. The study said, hey, anyone can code. We're going to show you, we're going to prove it. Sign up. And so 50,000 people signed up. And the coding thing it was a series of steps. And they did it kind of like a game to where it's like, see how far you can get in the code. So there's like different code segments that if you can get this far, it was one thing, but the goal was to get as far down, as far as to creating a code as possible that worked. And they broke it up into segments. Every time someone messed up, so they had two different groups. They had one group where every time someone messed up, they took away 5 of their 20 of their imaginary 200 points. So they gave everyone 200 points to start with. And one group, they would take away points every time they got a bad guess. And the other group, they never took away points. They would only give them points if they got it correct. So if you got to the next stage, you would get more points. The next stage, you get more points. The next stage, you would get more points. And what they found was the people, first off, that success in this game required at bats. It required multiple tries. But the group that was given a sense of loss gave up quicker. They quit. And as a result, they were much less successful. They quit much earlier. And this is interesting across 50,000 people. I don't have all the numbers in front of you. It's a very interesting study. But what it didn't remove the amount of effort that was needed to actually complete their programming quest. It just changed it and reframed it. I believe we can use AI to help us to get 10 at-bats where we used to get 1 at-bat, to fail very fast and to find out the best and most likely ways of winning. And instead of coming up with one great idea and staying there, maybe giving us the ability to try multiple out. The goal is that right now is the time to create more. You're a creator. You're made to create. You're in the image of a creator. So go create. Don't get lost in the wash. Don't lose your ability because you're chasing all the different bright shinies and all the different new AIs. Hone in on those key questions. What is it that I want? Who do I want to help? Who am I most equipped to help? What do they want? Who do I want to be in the process? And then from that, AI. What other AI should I be using? It will tell you to use these other systems that are not itself. So that was fun. If you have any questions, go ahead and pop those in. I will look into, I'm going to look into, I guess I'll look into the system and then just, for right now, all intents and purposes, throw it into the Q&A if you are a member. I know that some people, because I'm broadcasting this right now into a couple of different places, you're not members. You can't ask a question. You're not a school. You have to be a student to ask a question. But throw your question in. Of course, the goal is that we are chasing our calling. We're chasing our design, and we're not limited, guys. What a great time to not be limited. How many different ways can you serve your people? Be freaking creative. Be freaking creative. All right, I'm looking at the Q&A. I'm not seeing anything unless you're typing it in right now. I will go check the text messages real quick before we get out. But you know me, I am ignited, and a part of my intelligence comes alive whenever people come to me with puzzles we can solve together, right? Business puzzles, life puzzles, conversations. I should have had this up, but I don't. Okie dokie. All right, I'm not seeing any in the system. I don't think. Checking, checking, checking. Nope. None in the system. Checking here and the Q&A. I see none right here. Oh, I do. All right, someone threw their hand up. Going through the question in the chat. If you can type it into the Q&A, that's going to help me. If it's something I need to bring you on for, that's cool too. And this is interesting too, because there's just so many ways that we can get what it is that we want and create. I mean, your answer to what it is that you want is to create, create, create. Hello, hello, hello. Go ahead and type that in real quick. If I don't see it, see a hand up, but you got to type in that question, my man. I'll hang out here for a second. It's on the Q&A on the bottom. So, hey, Mr. Hand Up, you can throw it in the Q&A on the bottom. You know what? All right, there it is. Wanting to start a new business. What's the... All right. You know what? I'm going to bring you on, my friend. I'm going to allow you to talk because, all right, we got the question on. We'll talk together. Hello, hello, hello. Brandon,
Hello.
can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I do hear you.
Yeah,
So,
I was just gonna say, in starting a new business, what are the first like couple of things that you might want to look at, to see if it's something that you want to do?
dude, great question. Um, if it's
I mean, I
me,
already have one business, so maybe like venturing out and trying something else too.
for me, I would have fun with this. And this is something like I think the YouTube venture I just told you about is the prime example,
Yeah,
right? So listen, and everyone in the whole
I
world,
can barely hear you. I don't know if it's my phone or your phone. Or
can you hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you, but it's real light.
Really? Yeah, not sure. Um,
Go ahead. I can hear you though. Go ahead.
okay. Yeah, so if it's me, what I would do is like this is the best time in the whole world to do that. I think it's like looking at you've taken the personality test and knowing what it is that you really like. Um, Knowing how you like to interact with people is good. Looking at market knowledge that you have that can be helpful is good. Knowing the type of people that you like to help and that you want to spend time with is good. I actually personally would go into ChatGPT and say, hey, here's my personality type. Here are all of the business skills that I have. And here's how I've got 10
What I
extra
like to
hours,
do, and it
15
might
hours
help
a week.
me
Help
decide
me.
what. I get
Yeah.
it.
And by the way, here are the things. Here's the places that. So I'll give you an example. I live in a high. There's tourism on the other side of the bridge from us. So we live on the beach. On the other side, there's all this old city, and people go there. And for a little while, I was like, and I'm still not thinking about it, but I'm like, man, we have millions of people coming here. I'll bet, I could show up as a storyteller. I could learn the stories of my city, dress up as a freaking pirate or something like that, or as a Ponce de Leon or something like that, and give tours that nobody else would get any other way and I would enjoy doing it, and I could probably make a bunch of money doing it. And the reason I know is because I have a neighbor who has he was like one of Xerox's top executives, super successful guy. Now he just owns a house on the beach that he rents out half for an Airbnb, and he has these e-bikes, and he gives e-bike tours to people. And the guy makes, like, without even trying, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month, for a few tours every month. And so
But he enjoys it.
he enjoys it. And I would say, like, look for concepts. I like
He's exercising. He's educating. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So for him, that works. And I would have the conversations, get the version of ChatGPT that will talk to you. I would upload all my information first. Then I would
So do Chat GPT and buy the Chat GPT, whatever, $20
20,
a month or whatever it
20
is.
bucks. Do the $20 one. Yep. And then drop in, hey, here's my personality score. Like you've taken the one with School of Professional Design. drop in your personality exam results, drop in, write out your skills that you're skilled at. And you know what, actually, Brandon, you're going to get, I will say that there's a book that's coming your way. It won't come now. It's 3 weeks. I have these things getting printed, so you're literally going to get a book that's called The Way of Brandon. So I'm spoiling the surprise. You're a member. That's what you're getting. And what this book is actually designed to be to help you to figure some of this out. So you'll be able to scan on things, and I have QR codes that will help you to explore these things with yourself and give you questions to ask to AI. But I like really a lot of this is like look at all of the possibilities, and then the question is find people who are successful and borrow from them.
Yeah, see what you're saying. Yeah, find out what I want to do, and then go search the people that are successful and find which one I look, that relates to me the best.
Bingo. Well, let me ask you a question. I mean, we're here. No one else is asking questions.
Is anybody else on?
Yeah, we have
Okay.
people on, but there's I won't sweep you off until someone else has another question. So this is the only question I have. Do you want to explore this a little bit, or do you want to wait for the book?
No, let's explore it now.
Cool.
You
Talk to
already knew
me.
the answer to that.
Talk to me about some of the top skills that you would say that you have. So in terms of you're not 18 years old, so you've developed skills that help certain people. I want you to tell me about the people that you like to help, first off.
So number one, I would think children. I think people like me. Maybe I like people that like education or something that are teachable.
Mm-hmm.
Down to earth, like the outdoors. I mean, I could keep going.
Cool. So one of the reasons why we actually developed the School of Professional Design, what we call the 10P process, and so they're all going to be in the book, by the way.
Yeah.
They're also on the site down here as well. Like like when you know your personality, that's a part of it. Knowing what you're going after, that's a part of it. You understanding your powers, that's kind of what we're going through now. Knowing the people you like to serve, their problem and the promise that we want to make. There's so many different ways that you can turn your gift that it's going to be like, dude, you're so multifaceted. And so whatever you're doing today as a job, by the way, probably won't exist the same way in 5 years. But that doesn't mean you are like we just need to find some new ways to reappropriate those talents, those gifts, those desires. You said kids. I'm going to throw something out at you just because my brain's kind of popping. Probably had too much coffee. I'll give you an example. Do you have, I want you to think about the age of kids, and I want you to think about something that you can imagine doing with them or for them. And so in my mind, I'm just reflecting myself just because it might give you ideas, not because this is for you. I have a grandson who listens to affirmations. That my daughter, like she got him from someplace. I'm like, I'm going to do affirmations for him. So now it's like, but then like as I'm creating that, and then he's going to hear my voice doing it, my brain goes, well, what if that's a need, let's just say on YouTube or on these platforms, and parents want to give their children something that's positive. Maybe there's that space. It's just a thought. Then I'm thinking about, I've got 2 kids graduating or that are still in high school. And I'm like, high school's obsolete, dude. AI can teach you anything. High school's teaching you nothing. And so what if I pulled them out, which one of them will be pulled out. We taught with AI, helped them to learn to be creative and how to be good humans. I'm wondering, as I'm looking at that, I'm wondering if there's other business owners like myself that want that for their kids. Hey, maybe I should start a school. And, like combining some of that, like you had some outdoor elements in it. You had these other threads. I want you to ask yourself some of these questions like that I'm just kind of like pulling my brains out for you, where it's like, what if? And get into that what if mode. And if you're a nature guy, go to nature. If you're a church guy, go sit in the silence of your church. If you're a mountains, whatever it is, ask yourself those questions. Is anything boiling up as I'm saying any of those things?
Yeah, I mean, it always seems to point back. Everything points back to the same kind of thing is what happens with me. I think it always points like to the outdoors, education of children, like being better, helping people better themselves through finding maybe their love of what they want to do through outdoors or, environment or something. It always seems to keep pointing back this way.
I I always find if you were here I don't know if you were with me a couple of weeks ago, it's like I call that like the beach ball, Brandon, where you find like when there's something that's looking
I
at
was
you.
there.
And oh, you were there. So it's like, yeah. So it's like things like that we
Yeah, I
keep,
remember.
it just keeps bumping up. Like it just keeps popping up. And it's those are the things you should pay attention to. And that's actually what I would bring to Chat GPT and saying like, hey, listen, what are the different ways I could use this? Now, I will say this, after you go through the just the ideation phase, you will need to ask it at some point to be critical because and reach out here,
Yeah,
get some coaching, like get
yeah.
like the most negative
I'm okay
person,
with I'm okay with negative and criticism. So that's
but you can't introduce it too soon or else we won't come up with ideas. But once we come up with our top three ideas, we then we invite criticism. Can I give you a format that I'm going to be using pretty soon in just in exploring other things for the school.
hmm
So I'm pretty sure you've done online advertising before, right? You're pretty versed in that.
yeah.
Okay. So imagine if you came up with 10 ideas. Imagine if you grabbed your top three or four and instead of doing them, like the book that I'm sending to you took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears for me, took a lot of work to put together. And yet, no one asked me for it. So it might not be the best thing in the whole world. In other words, I may have spent a lot of effort for something nobody asked for and nobody would value. And that
Got it.
happens a lot of times to entrepreneurs. So what if your ideas, before you ever formed them, you used the wait list methodology. And the waitlist methodology means, dude, just buy $80 worth of ads or $100 worth of ads. Do three different ads for the same idea. So three ads for this idea, three ads for that idea, three ads for this idea, and three ads for that idea. And just see if people respond to it and want it. Hey, we're going to be doing like outdoor adventures for kids or outdoor, finding purpose through the outdoors with kids. Or and then you put it out there and you see if anyone wants it. And then when people raise
Throw the bait out and see if anybody takes it. I get it.
bingo, and even if you don't have like a plan, you could still say, "Hey, this is something we're thinking of. Hey, we're doing this.
Yeah,
Do
I
you want this?" And
got
then
it.
they
Yeah,
sign up for it. And
we're
then when
trying
they
to plan
sign up,
this. We're trying to see if we can get enough people to actually, move forward.
you could do that. You can do that with friend groups. You can do that with but the one thing is, and the one thing I think that AI gives us the power to do is to express ourselves because those ideas locked up, man, that's the worst. I don't know if it's hell, but it's definitely purgatory for someone who's creative. And
Got it.
so,
Yeah.
I would say like I would go get to a place and literally schedule time for vision. There's an episode of it's on Spotify, and if you look up School of Professional Design on Spotify, if you go there, there's an episode called the 50 Questions, and actually there's one for couples, and then there's one for I gotta log in. Sorry, bear with me. There's one for couples, and there's one for
Spotify.
dang it. Yeah, it's on Spotify. It's also on the whatever the Apple one
I have
is. What's the
Spotify, so you should be able to. You could send it to me
there
through
is
Spotify, right?
yeah. There's the Apple one, there's Spotify, any of the podcast things. And there is one called the 50 Questions to Unlock Vision. Here it is. I'm pulling it up now. And there's another one that's actually the most recent one, which is a couples challenge in vision. So I know that you're married. You can invite your wife in, and you guys can do some of this together. And that would be my suggestion, because you actually especially you actually have a visionary personality. If you're not imagining things, even you don't have to do. By the way, you need to not do everything you imagine. Okay.
No, yeah, for
But
sure.
go find the ideas, get the ideas out, and then from that, just say what's possible. And then from that, then I would reach out to people, do the ads, do whatever, and say what's probable. See what people actually would buy into before they. Here's the Spotify thing. So it's School of Professional Design. The last one's called the Power Couple Vision Challenge.
Yeah, I can't find it. I'm typing it in.
I'll drop a link to you. It's you just have, if you go into School of Professional Design, Donnie Tuttle, you'll find it. And then the other one is all of these are going to help you. Like, this was designed for people asking the questions you're asking. Oh gosh. There it is. Questions that ignite vision. So I would, and just ask yourself these things and record your answers and be surprised by what you say. Get to a different place that you don't normally work in. Set aside time. Have a glass of wine, play some music, do whatever it takes you to do to get out of your normal worried mind and get into a place to where all things are possible. And then write it out, and then go from that to probable, and bring it back here. Let us know what you got.
Right, say that again. What did you say to do?
I would
get in a good spot.
Get in a good spot.
Use Chat GPT.
Yep. Talk with Chat GPT or yourself, or journal. Get your ideas out, and you need to come up with. You need to be your personality type needs to be thinking about new ideas every day, not doing them all, just thinking them.
Got it.
Okay.
And then what? Try to narrow them down to what makes the most money.
Well, ultimately, you want to make money off of this.
Money, yeah. You want to make money, but you want to be happy making money is the key, right? I guess.
Right, but the money for me, money is just this right here. This just means that I've helped somebody. Okay, so if I have money, it means that people wanted what I had. I helped them, and now this is the receipt of me being able to help them. And yes, you want to do the version of it that you like. Now with AI, you should have vision that's bigger than what you have to do. You should be turning now towards, like, what are my options? What are the other ways I could do this? How would I do that? And there are so many things that should be open to you. And you're gonna have a lot of good ideas. And I will tell you that it's only 1 out of every 100 that you need to be doing out of that. But right now, you need to free the ideas.
Got it.
Cool?
Yeah, sounds great.
Hey, thanks for letting me walk with you through that. It's always fun when people bring stuff into it. And for those of you who are newer students, this is your time, right? This is a part of your coaching. You only get one personal session per month, and then this right here you got to be brave and go in front of other people, but it's helpful, and it helps all of us too. So, Brandon, thank you for that. I don't see any other questions, and for that, we will say goodbye and wish you well. We will not be back next week because I will be in Costa Rica in the jungles and volcanoes and beaches, and I'm sure I'll bring lots of good stuff back. And I am going to be using the most powerful form, the best tool to gain vision, which is a different place, a different mindset, in the place of prayer. So definitely encourage you to do the same thing. But while you're out there doing your deal, be your best. Stay on purpose. Stay in vision. Stay connected to your identity, and we will